Let's have a little look, shall we? I seem to be sent a lot of paper. Ah, there we go. So here we have our exhaust system. And while I'm not quite ready, because we're missing the flange, Tiggy's made it, but I just need to get it here in this isolation time. It's tricky. And I should be doing more important things like fitting the engine in there, interior, wings, flip front, get the engine running. I can't help but be tempted just to tack that tailpipe on and see what it looks like. Let's quick give you an overview of the exhaust system. We have a flange, as I say. Tiggy's made it at home. Well done, mate, despite not having the kit he needed. He's done a great job. So we have that coming. We've got a 60mm, which is I think 2 3/8 or something downpipe, bit more than 2.25 inch, as big as we can get through the gap. A couple of bungs for lambdas. Continues at 60mm to a flange that drops it to 2.25. A flexi, because there will be just a little bit of a movement, so it's just a small flexi. And then we'll have a couple of bobbins with stainless steel plate to make a mount that will mount it sort of in there under the tunnel. We'll use some plate to make some fixed mounts, so the downpipe in this will be fixed physically solid to the engine. That will run straight down the middle of the car, naturally, 2.25 inch, to our nice big oval back box, and then to a simple little kick up in the centre. And then there'll be a plated mount here, like they do OEM, with a couple of bobbins again. I've polished up a little bit. I'll polish up a little bit more once it's fitted, but basically it'll just be simple single exit. So I'm just afraid to say this because I'll mess it up, but I'm going to tack it on and I want to see what it looks like because I'm just too tempted. I need to get on with wiring, but that's what we're going to do. So this episode will be over a number of weeks, I expect, but let's just start off with having a look what it's actually going to look like while we await the flange, and then we'll start from the downpipe and work back. And then hopefully isolation will be over and we get Tiggy over and he'll tee it all together once I've tacked it together. Winning! There we go, so that's just mocked up obviously with a bit of wire holding it on. That's basically how it's going to sit. Shiny box, just the right fit. I ordered it custom size just because no one else seemed to make that size. The back end of it will drop slightly and we might just put a little extension there just to bring the tip out a little bit further. I might look at other minis because the bumper comes to sort of here, so you want it coming out just underneath it. That's basically how it's going to sit. Very nice. That'll do very nicely. I know what the back box wants to look like. I sort of have in mind what I want this downpipe to look like. We've got the flange. I've had to open up a couple of holes just for a little bit of clearance to make sure it bolts in nice. I only sent Tiggy a gasket. We couldn't work with much else in this coronavirus. This is the pipe size, but as you'll see in a second, this does open up, so I'm going to open up this side a little bit, like a flute shape, just to match. That's fine. And then with the pipe work we've got, we'll go 90, maybe 1 or 2 pie cuts, and then a 45 down, and then a 90 underneath, and then a straight shot back, basically, with a joiner just there, and then a joiner further down just before the back box. A couple of lambda probes, like such. And we're good to go. I'm going to use this bolt here to make a little clamp to hold it there, and we'll utilise that bolt there to hold it there. And that should do just fine. So let's get that nasty thing off and let's have a look at the flange. 90 going down, we have a 45 here, we need about 30 degrees here. Just needs to happen. I didn't quite get the right bits in time, just need to get on. So I'm going to try and make a pie cut or 2. This will be interesting. So yeah, I've got my piece of pipe level. Basically I want 30 degrees. I'm going to make that with well, we're going to try and make that with 2 cuts. So 15 degree angle times 2 would be 30, so it's 7.5 degrees twice will get me 2 pieces to make 30 degrees. I haven't got a big saw, which would be handy, or a protractor also would be handy, but I have got trigonometry, so I know the length of this. I know the angle I want, and then I can just work out the length there and make it. So I'm going to make this 10mm in, so we just need to take 10mm in, add it onto the length on this side, add that on, make a line across, and try and cut as straight as I possibly can. Yeah, let's see how that goes. So there's actually my first attempt at pie cuts. So basically we've got a 30-degree bend hopefully now with two 15 degrees, using that one 7.5 degree cut. And you can repeat that obviously. It's not perfect by any means, but for my first attempt ever at lobster or pie cuts, pretty happy. So we'll tack them up. We've just prepared the edges. Let's tack them up, and then we can tack them onto the pipe and see if that is enough or we need some more. And I think it's 30 degrees that we need. You can also obviously rotate these very slightly just to change the angle as it's going on the down. Winning. Alright, so we went for 3 pie cuts in the end, 15 degrees each, that's 45 degrees. I thought it would be about that. So we just need a little extension here to then join up with a long 45. So it'll be about like that. So let's cut that, 70mm, tap that on and keep moving. Okay, now 3 lobster cuts. Go down to a little straight. We've got a slightly edged cut, I don't know what you would officially call it, just to bring this pipe, just twist it around that way. I'm pretty happy with it, sort of in position. It's really close, we haven't got much movement, but we're going to move it literally like a millimetre away from the block by using this bracket that was there already. So we'll just make an L bracket out of stainless and that'll just hold that just off the block. We haven't got very much room here. And now we need to just cut a little bit off this trim bit, because this is the 90 now that goes along here is hanging too low. So just measure how much you need to cut off. We'll have to take this all off then and cut that and weld this on. So we're making progress. Screwdriver's there just to hold a bit of spacing before we make the bracket. We've just got enough clearance there. We might try and just make a little more clearance there. We added a little bit of clearance just on that curve there and a little pie cut in there just to kink it and dip it as it came down, because it kind of comes in and then out again to go around the little sump edges. And then so this has to sort of kink up again. So a little pie cut helped with that. We're just going to shave a little bit off of that as an old mount, and we're going to utilise this one, and we'll just make a little bracket. Just there, will go across the top. Just to bolt onto that nice. That should do the job lovely. Support it there. And then at the back here, I'm just going to measure up now for how long this actually needs to be before we go to the joiner. So just kind of figuring that out now. Working out whether we go joiner here. And then flexi in this room here we've got, and then back, because it gets a bit tight there. So I think I'm going to have the flexi here. We'll get the flexi out and the CNC joiner thing, and I think we'll have the joiner about here. There's enough space to get my hand all the way around it, so that should mean we've got room for the bracket. Drive shaft's just there, so we'll stick the spacer in the joiner there, the CNC flange, the V-band, then the short straight of the short smaller stuff, and then the flexi, and then straight back. Cool. It's cup of tea time, which must mean I've accomplished something. I have. Downpipe is effectively finished, mocked up as its permanent finish. So we've got a bracket original bolt position, so we're just utilising that. We will put the little heat shield back, we'll trim that, and we'll bolt it down to there, just because this is a coolant pipe here. So it's there for good reason. So we'll trim that off there. It's basically those two bits there. We'll trim it down to there, and it'll bolt onto there, so that can stay part of the permanent, sort of part of the engine. And then there's another bracket there. It is just touching there, but we can just trim that off back there. If you can just see that back here, there, because that was another bolt location to hold the exhaust. I didn't like it there, so we've gone with this one, nice and simple. We do have clearance. As I say before, 1mm clearance on this is good enough as an inch. So we can help that clearance a little bit up there and there. We can just increase that slightly, but we'll wait until it's all been tigged up for that. And then there we'll go this, which will go this, which will have a small section, then a flexi, and then straight back. So what we'll do is, I think we'll mock up the back box now, the brackets for that, put that in place, and then just make up this little section here, basically, and tack all that in place, and then we can measure between here and the back box and that joiner, and we'll know what we're doing. On the back box, it's going to have a small section, and then another one of these V-bands, which hasn't arrived yet, just so we can take out the sections individually, easy for fitment. And I often find if there's a couple of joiners, you can just tweak it just to suit the fitment. So let's get on with that. Get the back box on. Let's get on with that. Now let's try and get it off the car. Right, I'm not taking it off since I put the bracket on, so I go off that way. We need to tape some up. It's fine there, just courier the car there. Okay, a full 360 nearly, and then yes, but I don't think that flange is going to get through there, on there, so that will be interesting. Right, there it is, downpipe. Whoa! Lots of work for Tiggy. Alright, so I got the back box mocked up, put the end pipe on I wanted, got it basically the position I want, and then I'm going to measure obviously between the end of the box and the tailpipe, the downpipe, take off for joiners, and then cut effectively. And we'll cut from there, and obviously there's a flexi to cut for as well. But basically centre exit, single pipe, 2.25 inch stainless, with, it's quite a large back box, but I'm only putting one in and it could be quite noisy, and this is meant to be a daily, we don't want to, you know, it's like a resonator and a back box, it's decent size, 14, 10, 6 is the dimensions if you're wondering. So that's where that's going to sit. And what I'll do is we'll get the lengths, the pieces ready cut. So we'll have one short straight section about that long, and then a joiner V-band there to take the back box off separately. And we'll put I'd like the V-band just about here, I think, so we can get it tucked up as high as possible. So probably just here. There's a nice bit of space, and then there's a bracket just up there, or a bush, and we'll put the bracket just there. Hold some weight at the back of the box, then a nice straight going to a flexi and the V-band there. So we haven't done what I just said I'd do. Instead, I've got the other end sorted. I realised I needed that sorted because there was angle changes, so I'm probably going to do the same with this. Do a short piece of pipe with the flange on it, and then I get an accurate measurement between the two. So there we've just kinked it just slightly down, because I wanted to keep it neat under the engine, and then I've just tiny little edge. You can get a little bit of movement within those V-bands where you slide the exhaust in, as you can see. We just kind of dropped it just down, just to make sure we're not rubbing on those two cables, and then it's a straight shot back there. So I'll do another straight section, short, like 50mm, with a V-band for the back box, and then go from there. Apologies everyone, running ahead of myself a little bit here. Time's always a factor. We've tacked it on, obviously she's sat on the jack right now. It's all tacked up in the position I believe I want it to be. Nice straight pipe, obviously she's sitting a bit low right now. So what we've done is we've just put a couple of the bobbins in, which are what's going to hold it up. We're going to make a plate that's almost straight with a little curve in the middle. So that's what we're going to do now. And we're also going to basically do a little slot in the plate, both sides, just so that we can move the exhaust left to right to get it perfectly central, because it would look really annoying if we put it all this and then it's off centre, which our centre point's there. So like right now, that would look awful in my opinion. So let's make the plate up, make a little sort of sliding slot rather than one hole, and then we can get it just right. So this is actually a stainless piece of plate. We used the same thing on the front there. So we'll just measure 181mm between the two, and then we'll just go 10mm either side, a couple of holes, just Dremel between them, make a couple of slots. Sweet! Right, package all up, send it off to Tiggy. So this isn't finished, obviously. Now I could using my nice MIG, probably by the end of this exhaust, learn how to MIG this with a stainless. I haven't got full argon gas though, and I've not got a TIG, and Tiggy does, and I could send that to him. So I'm going to package this up somehow now and send this to Tiggy, and he will TIG it all up for me and then send it back, and then it'll look fantastic, and we'll fit it, and then by that time this will be running. Anyway, here it is. So obviously downpipe, and then that connects to that V-band, little flexi, and straight back to another V-band, and then to the brackets you saw earlier, and then out into the atmosphere to burn the clouds. Winning!
You want to see part 2? Watch the next episode.